Hi, it's Lonnie. Welcome to Grace Blossoms for You. What did I do? I started working on some Christmas projects, and I've been watching a lot of watercolor tutorials for tag ideas, and finally I just decided that I'm just going to go for it and do some things. So what I did was I started with watercolor paper, and I did use my fancy tag punch, but you wouldn't need to. You could just make these simply, and I think they would look perfect because it's the decorating that will make them. Plus we're going to add a bow, so you probably won't even notice really the cut. But this one here I made from just very thin cardstock paper, and I thought that one actually turned out quite nice too. So, you know, what you have, that's what you should use. And get creative. Just think of something that works together, and sometimes you can only find that out by doing. So I just wanted to show you a few things that I made. And so then I started, some of these I just painted, and then others I actually drew first. Like this one, it has black ink on it. And the lettering for me is still a challenge, but if I take my time, I usually find it's not too bad. So yeah, I'm gonna color that one. I just finished that one yesterday. I added the joy in red. I did write peace on there. I think that's probably my best lettering so far. And most of these I got inspiration from online. This one, I saw somebody make a tree out of what looked like teardrop shapes. And I thought, hey, I can adapt that to make a poinsettia, or even just like red colors, red and, you know, Christmas colors to me, red and green. And then, yeah, so I did, this one's the only one I did with presents, but it's not too bad now. I wasn't too fond of it when I first finished it. And there's another tree wreath. This one actually was a happy accident. What I did was I tried to make a pine cone with branches, and then I thought it would be nice to have like a gold grid in the background, which didn't turn out really great. And then for some reason I ended up putting water with my brush, and then I didn't realize it was going to smudge so much. Then I just embraced it, went with it, and I really like how that turned out now. It looks a little bit grungy and vintagey to me. Some very simple ones. Also, it does not have to be Christmas. I wanted to make these white berries, but using blue for the shadow, it kind of took over. And then now I really like it because it kind of looks like blueberries with just leaves. So there's that one. Another poinsettia. Yeah, they turned out to be one of my favorite things to paint. So I thought we could maybe do a couple together. Maybe I'll try one of the poinsettia ones. And maybe I'll show you how to draw one of these. It's not difficult, but we could also do like a vine. That's really simple. I think last year I made cards with wreaths on them, sort of this style. This year I'm just switching it up to tags. This one I would probably outline in black pen and then color it with watercolor. And I'm only using really cheap watercolor brushes, because that's mainly what I have. And I did find that set, which actually had some really pointy brushes. which I find a necessity for doing the lettering. So the pointier the better for me in that regard. And so just use what you have. A round brush would be nice too. These are so pointy, I don't know if they're round or not. I guess maybe they are, or they're sort of between a round brush and a rigger brush, which is a very, like an outlining type of brush. Alright, so I just use whatever colors. I have some colors that remind me a little more of Christmas than others. And I think though, it's July. As I'm filming this is the last day of July, and I usually do not do Christmas stuff until at least September. But this year I had the idea of what to make as thank you gifts, and I decided to just start. And so that's what I'm doing. And then I got this birthday card today, since today is my birthday, and I thought, wow, that would look really good on a birthday, or on a, you know, it doesn't have to be birthday, but balloons could be. And then so I drew some balloons on the tag. Instead of always doing a card, you don't always have to do a card. You can do something like a tag, especially with the project I'm doing. I'm making Christmas card journals, very small journals, not huge at all, just more of just an elaborated thank you card really, and using a Christmas card to do it. And so I am just really enjoying doing those. Alright, I also have a piece of paper towel to wipe off my brush, because sometimes you have to do like a you have to wipe up some color to get like the highlights. And so that's what I've got here. I've got some water. I had this extra cup here, so I decided to use that. So what I'm going to do is just take my brush, and for these balloons, since they are not Christmas, I'm just going to start with whatever color I want. I happen to have yellow over here, which always gets my attention. And I'm using fairly cheap watercolor paper from Walmart. It's the North Shore watercolor paper. And there's a bit of a glare, so pardon me if I don't get it perfectly into the lines here. That's usually not, I mean, it's nice when it happens, but I tend to give myself a lot of grace when I do that. And I'm just going to make the outline a little bit darker, and then just kind of give it a highlight if I can. So even in the yellow one, there's a lighter spot. Okay, so that's the yellow one. I find that if I wipe my brush on the paper towel, I don't have to change my water as often. So that's nice, because I don't really have a sink in my craft room. I call it a craft cave now because I am in the basement, and it is kind of inconvenient sometimes. Okay, so I have some things going on here, which they're all right, but they're nothing spectacular. So I thought I would just grab another blue, maybe this blue. And I cannot help but mix colors, so that's my thing. I guess that's my thing. I like it to be kind of wet when I start the process, because I can always mop up some, but I don't want it to dry on me before I'm finished, so I like working in these little sections. So these balloons work really nicely. And then just drop in some extra color. And then let that dry. So I've got yellow, blue, probably do like a green one yet. And I do want these fairly translucent, so I might be adding more water. If I have some here. So I hope everyone's doing well. By the time you see this, it will be August. And it may look like, if you've been watching my channel, it may look like I have not finished the July Junk Journal Challenge 2025. And in all honesty, I haven't. My schedule has changed. My filming schedule has changed so that I have not been able to really keep up with it because my husband's routine has been turned upside down basically, and so goes the rest of the household. But I am trying to film ahead when I do film, and then I do plan to still do a couple of prompts at least from the July Junk Journal. Why not? I mean, I got inspired by some of the things, so why not just keep going? All right, so it depends what you're going for here, but trying to stay away from Christmas colors right at this moment in time. So maybe like a teal. I don't know if that's teal or not, but it could be. And then just grab some liquid. Yeah, I don't know what it is about summer and watercolors. Maybe it's just the fact that when we were kids and it was summertime, we would play with water more. And so that has, for me, translated to watercolor. Sounds good, right? Why not? We'll go with that. All right, I think I need some orange in here yet. Some really bright orange. I think this is actually yellow orange, which will work. I got a little too much on the side of my brush there. I'll probably outline these in black pen as well. But yeah, I just wanted to get the birthday or the balloon one done because I think that would be great for birthdays or any kind of party really, I suppose, or shower, something lighthearted. And then that will be basically it, except I'm going to try and give this a bit of a highlight. There we go. This one doesn't really have a highlight. Try over here. Might be too late, but it might not. Kind of dried already on me. Just kind of wiggle stuff around there. And then when it dries, it will surprise us. Watercolor sometimes has a way of doing that. Alright, I think all the other ones kind of have a highlight. I don't want to mess with it too much. Now, my pen. I'll probably have to wait with that because it's still pretty wet, and the pen I like to use I didn't even bring to the craft room because I've been doing these in the kitchen just because, I don't know, the kitchen has more light and that's where I like to hang out. Alright, so that will be that one. We can maybe outline that one after it dries. And then I'll show you this one. I did bring my pencil, which is what I started with. And then I just wanted one in kind of two different corners. So I started the center of it just towards one of the corners where I wanted it. So not completely centered. And then I just drew teardrop shapes around it. You can make them as big or small as you want. They don't have to be perfect either. And then I just went around that center and kept drawing teardrop shapes. And I did make like two layers or two tiers of the red ones. You could make the outside ones a little bit bigger. And then for the leaves, I'm kind of going to go backwards, except, well, here, imagine there's your teardrop shape, but instead of finishing it, I don't want to run into these petals, so I just kind of gave it that effect. So I indented my teardrop. I mean, you wouldn't have to do them like that. I'm just saying that's what I did. And then I'm only putting those on the on some of them, not all of them. Every other, and not on the very outside ones, but kind of on the first tier of petals. So that will be that one. Now you could give it lines in the side if you wanted, like little flicks if you wanted to. And then I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. Just to get them kind of even, I did do one across from the other and then did that and filled them out that way just to center them a little bit nicely. Not perfect and yet a little bit uniform. Yeah, so these are really fun. Okay, so that's the first. And then the second layer or tier. There's not room for them everywhere, that's fine. All right, and then the backwards teardrop shapes. Make some of them a little larger, some a little smaller. Okay, one more. Something like that. So then whatever color, they don't have to be Christmas either. They could be whatever color you want to make them. Like I said, I'm just working on Christmas cards right now, so I think I will continue. But first, I think I'm going to make that dot in the middle because I was doing it gold and it was taking a really long time for them to dry. So I think I'll do that first. And I did not get very much water in here at all. hopefully that will work. But yeah, I'm just going to keep going with my Christmas theme here. And I just need a little bit more red. I was also mixing two reds. One was a lighter one was a darker one. So just to kind of give it a little variation here. All right, so then because I drew it, it'd be kind of easy to just color. Now I have a highlight there, and I probably will leave that. Sometimes it's harder to add them when you try. So when they happen naturally, it's just, may as well leave it. Just big time went over the line here. So I'll just kind of fix that and extend it. So if you do the highlight this way on purpose and leave some blank spots, then you don't have to, I probably won't end up mopping up any color. Like I said, the pointy brush really does help, and yeah, cheap ones is what I have, so that's what I'm using. So I'm wondering what you're all up to. Some of the challenges have wound down now. Or did you find new ones? Let me know if you found new open collabs or challenges that are fun and easy without the pressure. I just find I need them to be fairly relaxed and easygoing. Otherwise, it's just too much pressure, and I want to just have fun when I'm creating. So I like to have fun, and I like to share. Yeah, so later today I'm going to make a thank you card. Maybe I'll do a folio for the person who gave me the card. There's some other goodies in there yet too, so she gave me this really pretty butterfly, and I thought, how cool would that be on a journal cover? In fact, here it is. Isn't that fabulous? Pink and green and blue. Might be a little big for a journal cover, but I'm gonna try it. All right, so a little more red. And it doesn't look like I left enough space on this tag for a word, so that's okay. It doesn't have to have a word on everything. I'll use some of the ribbon that I got from the thrift store. I got some shiny stuff. Red, green, and gold and silver. Those are what I would call my Christmas colors, if I had any. Around our house, we celebrate the birth and the first coming of Jesus. We're not so big on the traditions and the hoopla of Christmas. To us, it's just kind of become so commercialized, it doesn't mean much that way. So we're not really big on celebrating the way most people celebrate Christmas, but we do hold to much significance the birth of Christ. In fact, we are looking forward to his return and want to tell people about him as much as we can. Unfortunately, these days, a lot of people are not open to hearing the truth. So I find journaling and crafts a good way to get the message out. For instance, the other day I gave somebody just a little note to say thank you, and on it I had put some stickers. Actually, it wasn't a sticker, it was one of the vertical labels that I have for free in my Ko-fi shop. If you have not checked out my Ko-fi page, do so. There are some free printables that you may want to use for crafting or evangelizing, or both. It's supposed to be really hot here today, so in the back of my mind, I'm trying to think what I'm going to make for supper. Doing pretty good here for not getting my hands in the paint. As I say that, I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't have said that, but we just go with it. Sometimes you can clean it up really nicely, and other times not so much. I think this one was a petal as well, a flower one. Yeah, I think this is the most enjoyable time I've had making what you might call Christmas tags because of the pointy brushes. I think they make a world of difference. Okay, so the rest of them are leaves. I went fairly dark green with those. I think for this one I might mix them a little. We'll see. That one has too much water. And two, you could go closer to the flower. I did stayed a little far away for some reason. And two, if I decide to outline these with black, I might go looser around so it's not so precise looking. But that one I won't outline. I think it's too dark. It doesn't need it. It's usually the lighter ones that I feel like I want to give an outline to. Sometimes instead of wiping off my brush, I like to just transfer that to another leaf or whatever so that I still use what's on my brush, just not in one spot. Did get a little much in that one. And probably got a little much in some of the other ones too now. Yeah, just soaking up some of the puddles. So something like that. And like I said, you could do other colors. You wouldn't have to stick with a Christmas theme. You could do them whatever colors you wanted. Okay, so then it just has to dry. And I was thinking about this one. Now that it's dry, and since I do have a fine tip, what I might go ahead and do, since I don't have my black pen here that I like to use, not the fine one anyways, I was thinking I might be adventurous and try it with the black watercolor brush. So I'm going to do just like where the string is. Something like that. Need a bit more. Now, I did not ever think I was going to do something like that, because up until now I just didn't feel like I was brave enough. I'm going over top of the balloons because that's what they did with the card. Instead of going behind the balloons, they went in front. Something like that. They don't all have to have 2 loops, but I probably won't outline the balloons themselves. Something like that. Hey, you know, by the time you get the bow on there or whatever you're tying onto the tag, maybe you're not tying anything on, maybe you're putting an eyelet on there, just whatever you like. By the time it's finished, I think it's gonna look great. And imagine if you had a lot of birthday gifts to give and you needed tags for all of them, then this would be a really great mass make. All right, I don't think I'm going to color this one because that's going to take too long, but I'll show you the one that I did with this one, with the vine here. And I'll bring back that tag that I just did now. And all right, so this one's really skinny. I won't have room to put the word. And if I, well, let's just make it a little bit different. So we can kind of make it branches. And then we'll just add the leaves. Again, kind of the teardrop idea here. I try to make them a little facing different directions so that they don't look too plasticky and stiff. And I try to also make the shape a little casual so that it's not, you know, looking like a perfect leaf, but allowing for a little bit of differences so that they look hand-drawn instead of like they were done by a machine. Now I'm not going to put in the branches like I did there, but I will add some berries. I think that's fun. Sometimes, you know, there's not room for many berries, but you just do a couple here and there. Something like that. And then, in fact, I think I drew that one with a pen. Not like this one. I did this one with a pencil. Alright, so I'm going to just color it in lightly and see what happens. I might end up not sure. There's already an outline, so that might be good enough. And too, sometimes you just want something that's not so stark. You just want it a little bit lighter. Nothing wrong with that. Could be a little more of a traditional. I think faded would kind of look a little bit more vintagey. Oh good, I just thought I'd been filming and I should probably see if my camera is actually going. I'm sorry if I got my head in the way. I'm used to looking at it fairly closely so that I kind of get in the lines. Yeah, I'm kind of enjoying this lighter touch here with the lighter leaves and that. So what I might do, I kind of want to just do, like I said, it doesn't have to be Christmas all the time. Just gonna grab a little brown and do like the stems. Something like that. And then I think I do want maybe some, what other color can berries be? I've got the blue, I've got red somewhere there. How about gold? Is that a color? Well, then it would look fake, right? But we can do what we want, so that's what I'm doing. Just adding little gold highlights. And that's it. That's all the berries. Just trying to get a little closer look, see if I need anything else. Yeah, something like that, I guess. That's not bad. It's not as kind of, I mean, it's a little more subdued, obviously. That's fine too. Sometimes that's just the mood you're in. But let's see. What else? Was I gonna do anything else? Did you want to see the other poinsettia? Maybe I can do that one and then just kind of fast forward it while I'm working it. Okay, so what I did was, again, grab my reds. And I want a little bit more water in this one. Need some. Just squirt it a little bit in here. So how I started this was something I saw on, I think it was YouTube, but I watch so many, it's honestly hard to remember who did what now. So if you search Christmas tags watercolor on YouTube, you'll likely run into something like this. Alright, so that was the first step And then I just drew, like, put some puddles of water in, and then I just kind of dragged it out and made this petal shape. And I brought most of the bulk of the dark back to the drop here. And I think I wet it every time. Something like that. I try not to work it too much. I do need a little more room here. And I'm actually going to lift this off the surface. Some of them ended up being a little darker, and that's okay. Okay, and then what I did was just kind of filled in another. Okay, so basically that's it, and then I made the leaves. Something like that. Maybe just a little smaller leaf here. Okay. See, it doesn't have to be complicated. It can just be easy and simple. 2 colors. I mean, really, what could be easier? Now for the other ones, I did take some dark green and put little dots in there for the center. For this one, I was thinking maybe some yellow, or maybe do I go back to the gold? I could do gold. Just some to show where the center is. And then if you wanted to, you could still write something on there. I feel like I need a little more room, so I won't on this one. Alright, so let's finish some off before this video gets super long. I really wanted to try these. All kinds of colors. They're very thin, so I haven't really used these, but these look like they're wired. They're acting a little wired. So what I might do is just double that one up. And then feed these through. Yeah, they're definitely wired. They don't really want to pull, but that's okay. That'll work for my advantage actually, because I won't need to hot glue them, because they will be obedient and do as they're told. Yeah, just make sure your paint is dry before you put the bow on, because I touched that tag in all sorts of places. All right. So there's that. And then the other ones are still kind of wet. Anyways, I'm sure you have ideas on how to finish these off. Basically, use what you have, use what you like. And anyway, so I just wanted to share what it is I'm doing with my tags this year. And yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Maybe got some ideas. Let me know if you found that helpful. Thanks for watching and tuning in. I'd appreciate your comments as always, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.